Yo, today is August 16th, 2023, and it's another day of looking at what is now Tropical Storm Hilary developing off the west coast of Mexico, and looking at the track which has it going into Southern California. So, this is the most recent 18Z um, GFS model run. So, we have four of them. Um, I'm doing this like the previous video where we're 90% in, but it'll give me an opportunity because once it gets to 100, it knocks off the 0Z. So we'll look at all four of these real fast. And yeah, so this is now Tropical Storm Hilary developing here, as you can see. And let's run this. And you can see it is rather large. One of my thoughts, I had said in a previous video, it's about half the size of Mexico. And then um, let's let this run real fast. But when you set maybe to satellite view here, it kind of changes how this looks. You realize like, oh, maybe a better way to describe it is it looks like it's about, with at least with this activity associated, it looks about the size of the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, if you just Im- super like took this and imposed it over here, like copied all this and put it on this, it would be about the size of the Gulf of Mexico, which is rather large for a tropical storm, or what is very soon to be a hurricane based on uh, every model run that the GFS has done for several days. So um, I do find it interesting. This is the first day that I've seen any of the news, whether people talk about it, as I was saying in the previous videos. I suppose it is a assured thing now because it is literally it's a tropical storm now, um, as opposed to a possible or probable tropical storm. But yeah, when we run the model here, we can see very much that, and you can see we don't have quite every frame of this, but we have enough to see very clearly, and we'll run it like this, that it does the same thing where it intensifies. It actually looks more organized, I think, in these runs, or in this run specifically. It kicks up a lot of tropical moisture over Southern California and into Nevada, and I guess into Northern California at a certain point. You can see like literally it while it's still in California, like while the hurricane or tropical storm or whatever you want to call it, or whatever it's going to be at the time, because remember these are only. I mean, it could make landfall as a hurricane. But the idea is that it looks as though, at least from the runs, that it'll be some kind of tropical storm as it makes landfall in either Baja California or near Southern California. But you can see all of the moisture, like basically wrapping up into Canada and then being pulled uh, pulled to the other side of the country pretty quickly. Like literally, you can see some of this from this system, or at least what it appears like, um, kicked up on the other side of the country. But okay, so let's about 93% on this. Let's look at this again. You can see, as I had said previously, a lot of moisture gets kicked up into Southern California. That's actually what, at least the coverage that I've seen, um, is talking about. Like the different news weather channels seem to be saying, you know, that the tropical moisture is in the least going to be a problem for certain parts of Southern California, which I feel like that's Yes, that's pretty obvious. Let's run this back. We'll look at the 0Z. So this is the first run from, 12 a.m. today. You can see it develops and does pretty much the same thing that you see now, except it's a little more western on that one. And you can see that something develops off here. But again, that's so far ahead in time that you can't necessarily trust that. Similarly, the 6Z, which is from 6 a.m. today, uh, has almost the same thing that you see now. So it's starting to become like I guess it's pretty much been every run has been similar for the past couple days now. I mean, there were some that had it going off more western, like on a more western track, but that does not look like it's going to happen. It very much looks like there is a guaranteed landfall. Or I keep saying landfall. At this point, it's like it scrapes along the coast of Baja California, and ultimately, like, you know, here's the 12Z. So this is from noon today. Um, Ultimately, this one makes a more Baja California landfall, but even then, all of the moisture streams north. And being here in Houston, and also it goes a little west, so it's not 100% just a landfall. It like drags along the coast still. Um, but being here in Houston, I understand that tropical systems don't necessarily uh, have most of the problems come from wind, which is, even if this does not make landfall as a hurricane, wind, you know, being the main thing that you think of with hurricanes, is that in actuality, a lot of the problems that come from a hurricane will come from the moisture, the rain that it produces. And like in Houston with Hurricane Harvey being an example, it just stalled out over top of Houston, or the Houston area, and dropped a lot of rain, which caused problems. And I think Houston requires more rain to flood than a place like Los Angeles or San Diego or anywhere, probably anywhere in Southern California, just because just like in California, they would be more prepared for earthquakes and build for that. Well, in Houston, we have uh, they build for tropical systems, hurricanes, rain, stuff like that, more so. And I don't necessarily think that's what people are mainly thinking of in California. And so we'll run this one more time through. But yeah, I don't think that's mainly what people are thinking of when they're building in California. So it could be a problem just based on this rain that you see that it looks like it's going to get up. Um, and I want to look at one more thing after we do this one last run here. And so this is the 18Z again. It's just there's more of it loaded, and you see this one kind of form up in previous runs. You saw that literally in one of the runs at least, or in a couple of them, another hurricane would form and then move up Baja California. We aren't that far. Like as we move forward, we'll see what happens. This has it kind of developing and then moving into Mexico. Right here, you see something develop and it just moves north into Mexico. So we'll see what happens. This is kind of fantasy hours at this point on the model runs, so it's not like this is anything at this point is assuredly going to happen. I will say though that today is the first day that I've heard anything about Hilary on any mainstream source, or I mean, it just became a tropical storm technically, but every model run, like that's one of the reasons why I'm putting these videos on YouTube, is like every model run for days has shown it making some kind of path like this. So it's been pretty obvious that, at least to me, that this was, I think they even gave it a 90% chance of developing, but it's like, okay, at that point, it's almost assured thing. It would probably make more sense to start covering it then, like, around the time I did. But whatever. I can understand people have been, dealing with the Hawaii situation, which is pretty devastating. So makes sense um, as to why they'd be focused on that. Just a thought on Hawaii. I think the death toll is over 100 now, but I keep seeing things where it's saying over 1,000 people are still missing. And while I'm assuming that some of those people could appear, I think basically what you're getting at is we're days off from that. I don't think that 1,000 people are just going to pop up out of the woodwork. So I think part of the idea is like they aren't saying that 1,000 people died from this or something or over that, but I mean if they're just missing and uh, this is I think why people I keep seeing stuff on Twitter from people in Hawaii saying like they're underreporting the death toll uh, because that does seem like if that many people are missing, it's very likely that at this point, I, are they going to be found? I mean, just reasonably. Um, so we'll see what happens. I saw something where they were talking about just like something happened in Puerto Rico where I don't know how long ago, maybe in 2018 or somewhere 2021, past few years, where there was some kind of tropical system in Puerto Rico, and like or something happened in Puerto Rico where the official number was like 45 people died, but the actual number is somewhere around like 4,000 or supposedly that's what people were saying. So if if there's 1,300 plus people missing and they haven't appeared or they aren't like at some point missing is going to turn into they don't just stay missing forever. And I do think that kind of points to like this would have been a lot there would be a lot more attention on this, I think, also at Hawaii. And I think one of the things is similarly like with this is in instead of just giving out 100% accurate information or they're trying to prevent panic, but by not being transparent. And I just don't think that that's necessarily a good idea as far as what's associated with, you know, these kind of disasters. I think you should just be transparent with people. Um, okay, let's look at one more run. This is 99% done. So we're only going to have one frame that we don't see. But I mean, you can see that like there's quite a bit of moisture for a while and over um, like look, you can see the moisture starts kicking in at like this is here 7 a.m. on the 19th, 10 a.m., 1 a.m. I mean, there's already moisture in Southern California, and then it really kicks up 1 a.m. on the 20th, 4 a.m. on the 20th, 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m., 7 p.m., 10 p.m., 1 a.m. on the 21st, 4 a.m., 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 4 p.m., 7 p.m., 10 p.m., 1 a.m. There's still like moisture lingering over Los Angeles, and then you don't really see uh, moisture, and so that's about 7 a.m. So that's like 3 days worth of just rainfall over uh, Los Angeles, Southern California, Los Angeles, San Diego, Palm Springs, and seemingly up to like up to Las Vegas and maybe in Arizona. It just depends on exactly where the track sends where it tracks. But yeah, let's look at one more thing here. So I just clicked down here on Microsoft's thing where you do this and it pulls stuff up, right? And it kind of gives news and whatever. And I saw something talking about Hilary, so I clicked it, and this says it's expected to hit Category 3 with 120 mile per hour winds. You never know; it could intensify more than that. It could not lose intensity. It could stall out over whatever. Like, I think that this is. This says a recorded storm has never moved into California as a hurricane. Only 3 storms have made it into California as tropical storms. This is, I mean, it basically looks guaranteed this is going to be the fourth, at least the fourth tropical storm, and that there is a possibility it could be the first hurricane. Um, so Nora in 1997, Kathleen in 1976, and Long Beach storm in 1939. That there's instances of like tropical rain, so like the remnants reaching Southern California. And its forecast is for 2 to 4 inches and 6 inches in different places. So we will see what happens. Oh, hey, it's Gal Gadot. What a cutie. Anyway, Wonder Woman, what are you doing? No, anyway, it's just an SNL skit. Okay, it's just a skit. It's a skit. Anyway, okay, well, hey, look, Wonder Woman. Anyway, so I'm gonna go play soccer, but I I wanted to make this again because this is now the videos are up on my YouTube. It's now gone from like large hurricane makes landfall in Baja California to like tropical storm or tropical storm Hillary or Hurricane Hillary, whatever it's gonna be, is pretty much it looks guaranteed to make a large impact on Los Angeles and San Diego and Southern California. It looks pretty not just likely. I mean, it's like a assured thing at this point. So yeah. All right. Well, I'll make another video tomorrow around this time, and we'll see what's changed. So yeah. All right. Have a blessed one. Later. Yeah.